Welcome back. It's still Daybreak Africa, reaching here from our studios in Ondo City, of course. I'm Ezekiel. Okay, this is what we'll be talking on: the persistent tension attacking Nigeria, talking about the rising insecurity, expecting federal and state government solutions towards containing this menace. And with us via Skype, of course, is Komolafe Ayobamiji, a public affairs analyst. Welcome on Daybreak Africa. Good morning, Bamiji.
Good morning.
A very good morning to you, Ayobami. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very good. Good morning.
All right. Straight to the discussion of the day. We'll be talking about the insecurity and the rise as it has been causing issues in our nation. You, as a public affairs analyst and also as a Nigerian, what is your take concerning insecurity as at this moment in Nigeria?
If we look at the issue of insecurity in Nigeria as it is, we'll see that it's an issue that has overwhelmed almost every Nigerian. It's an issue that has become a great concern for almost every Nigerian. And if you look at insecurity, at the moment, it has affected us in so many ways, even as citizens. And if you look at our economy, our dwindling economy, we can see that insecurity has contributed a quota to it as well. It has become so worse that the fear of even setting out on a journey has engulfed most Nigerians. Even to go to your farm, even to carry out your daily activities has become something, has become a burden to many Nigerians. So if you look at it from every angle, from every perspective, insecurity has handicapped us as a country in so many ways, and it boils down to even the normal citizens, even our high-class citizens. It's something that is affecting everybody, irrespective of the security apparatus attached to a political office holder. We see that they still get attacked, even on their road trips and all that. So insecurity has eaten deep into this country, and it has become an issue of serious concern. It is what we hear daily. There is no day we don't hear cases of kidnapping, we don't hear cases of banditry, we don't hear about herdsmen doing this and that. You know, it has become, let me say, a part of us. That everybody is now looking for means of coping and living with. So insecurity has become a national issue that every person, you don't know the next thing you are going to hear on the news. Even if you have somebody traveling, you don't, until the person gets to his or her destination, you don't know the next news you're going to hear about that individual. So insecurity has affected us as a country in so many ways. That affected us even as individuals in diverse ways. That affected our economy, it has affected our growth. We see foreign investors even leaving the country at the instance of insecurity. So that's my take on that.
Okay.
I think insecurity in Nigeria currently is a respecter of no territory. I know just some time ago we know how kidnapping intend to really deal with the living Christ out of Abuja. And now talking about Kaduna State. Kaduna State is one state I believe should be more like a defense center, considering the base of NDA over there. Now, issues like this tend to actually question the level, rather ridicule the state and question the level of our defense system in Nigeria. Now, considering Kaduna State being the base for the NDA and all that, just how questionable is our defense system currently in Nigeria?
Talking about our defense system currently in Nigeria, and with the instance of Kaduna you just cited, we've had even cases of kidnap that happened close to military bases in the country. Is it that they are not aware throughout the minutes, throughout the period that incident happened, despite the fact that we have them on our major highways? We still have kidnappings happening close to them. So I think as it is, let me say that our security apparatus in the country is overwhelmed. Maybe the military, we can't even rely on the police alone. Now the police now have to collaborate with the military. You know, naturally, the military shouldn't even come to place at a situation like this. But as it is, to tell you how critical the situation is, the military have joined forces with the police. And as it is, I feel the military is overwhelmed already. When we talk about even apparatus, when we talk about personnel, how trained are these personnel? Then, if they are well trained, do they have access to the needed equipment, to the needed weapons to actually face these people? So those are issues. So it's not just Kaduna, okay, housing the NDA alone. There are many other issues that we need to look into. It is not about where the academy is situated, but what are the working conditions for these people? There are welfareism. There are many issues we need to look into. So we should not just deal with them as a person, but let's deal with the institution.
Now, you've said something that really interests me about the welfareism of people. Now, if we look into the 2024 budget that was passed into law, now 12% or so was allocated for defense, which we believe that such an high amount, if we are going to look at it on Nigeria budget, is allocated for defense. We are supposed to be seeing changes. But at this moment, why are we not seeing the required changes, especially on the welfareism, on the provided apparatus and things that are supposed to be put in place, especially when even the police force, they are all demanding and they're saying they are understaffed? Looking at the situation of Nigeria security as at this moment, why are we not seeing this amount of allocation reflecting on our security system?
Okay, you made reference to a budgetary allocation for welfareism. And if we look at it, do they have access to this money as at the time we are speaking now? No, it's a different thing for the budget to be passed. But sometimes, even before they get hold of these resources, they get hold of this money, sometimes it gets to the middle of the year, sometimes it gets to the end of the year. So it's not just about passing the budget. Do they have access to this? Do they have timely access to this money? And if yes, if they have timely access to this money, then we have a house committee in charge of all this security. So there should be an oversight. Oh yes, money has been dispensed, this has been given to you. Then what have you done so far with this allocated money, with this allocated funds? There should be an oversight. An oversight should be carried out. From there, we will know what exactly the problem is. But as far as I'm concerned, I know most times it goes beyond just passing the budget, just making budgetary allocations. Sometimes this money, they don't have access to some of these funds till the later part of the year.
I tend to once again ask about overall ability. Of course, you did mention it's more like the situation is overwhelming our security personnel. I tend to wonder, are we supposed to question the ability? Are we supposed to question the equipment or facilities at this point? Now, if you would actually run with me in this case, according to Eyewitness, and Eyewitness, they made mention the fact where bandits tend to surround the school at Chikon in Kaduna State, and mobilize and order over 280 students and then walk them through a bush path. Now, I tend to wonder, how difficult is it to locate bandits and 280, at least 280 people, school children? How hard is it to actually find them in Kaduna State? How difficult can this be? Is it that we lack abilities? Is it that we lack willpower? Is it politically driven, or we just lack equipment? I mean, how hard, considering the efforts, flying a helicopter or something, find the radius, whatever is happening down there. How difficult is situations as this? These are situations that I consider should be arrested within a day or two tops.
Oh, thank you. Looking at it, when we look at the United Nations ratio, I think it should be 1 police officer to 250 to 300 citizens. But presently, our present reality in the country is that we have maybe 1 police officer to over 670. If you look at the reality, what is operating in our country, which is against even the normal standard. I hope you get my point. So which is against the normal standard. So that's to tell you that first off, we don't have enough hands. And another thing is this: you made reference to Kaduna's 287 pupils of a school in Kaduna. Let's assume we have trained security operatives, but I feel in the area of technological advancement, how often do we provide on-the-job training for some of these security operatives? Some of them don't even know how to access some technologies. We talk about tracking. If your phone is stolen, there is a way you can track it. If you have the needed technologies, if you have people that can help you, there's a way you can track it. And then we talk about these people, when we even look at it, their footprint. We watch movies, we watch foreign movies, and you see that even thumbprint, sometimes it can be retrieved to actually trace a crime suspect or a criminal. Also, footprint, at least they told a part. So if you have the needed technology, why not employ? Why not bring it? Why not devise these technologies into to actually curb this menace? And if you look at it, not as if, sometimes the funny thing is just that it is not as if, okay, they actually came in a big bus to convey these people. Like you said, they marched them apart. It will take minutes. It will take some time. And there must have been an outcry immediately after that kidnap happened. So before they were able to tow them through a particular part, where were the security operatives at that time? So one thing I can say is responsible is this: either we don't have enough personnel, yes, and even the ones we have, how armed are they? Do they have access to rifles? Do they have access to weapons? Sometimes you see like 4 or 5 policemen standing, you only see one with a gun. Others are holding sticks, is it with stick? They will go after bandits who are well and better armed than them? No. And another thing is, technology, there should be investment in our security apparatus. Let us bring in let us bring in technologies that can help us, technological advantage. Let us bring in equipment that can help us. If it is to collaborate with international communities, yes, let us seek for help. If we do not have one in the country, let us seek for help. So I can tell you this: the system is overwhelmed. Number one, they don't have access to enough apparatus, to enough weapons to even go after these bandits. You see when we see some of these bandits arrested, you see the weapons some of them are holding. If you check maybe with even the ones our security operatives are carrying, you see the difference.
Would you actually
we need to invest.
Would you actually consider our government at this point rather careless? Because for a fact, we actually have an incident that happened like this 10 years ago, talking about April 14, around 2015, if I'm not mistaken, with the Chibok girls. And we're having just the same incident a decade later with this same, just the same incident. And don't you think if we're actually incapable of putting those facilities and technologies and all those together, within a period of 10 years, do you actually consider this government really interested in the affairs of its citizens?
We can't say the government is not interested in the affairs of its citizens. But maybe the interest, everything is about priority. And in economics, we talk about scale of preference. So it may not just be the top, the security may not just top the list for them. That's all I can say as regards to that.
Security does not top the list of the government?
Exactly what I was about to ask, because if you are going to ask me, I believe that the lives of properties of your citizens should be your #1 priority. And if it has happened about a decade ago that people were taken hostage for so many years, and we are just seeing some of them some years back, it's happening again. It's not a situation of fun if we are going by what you are saying. it is about scale of preference. And if you want to say scale of preference wise, security, securing the life and properties of your citizen is not on the top. Definitely, I will not on the same page saying they are neglecting what they are supposed to do.
That's what it actually looks like. There seems to be a neglect and responsibilities and in owning up to certain issues. When we look at it, it's not as if we don't have the resources. The resources are there, but how are they? But how do government channel these resources? Where do they channel these resources to? Differs, and that was why I mentioned scale of preference. What matters to them seems not to be same with what matters to us as citizens. And thank goodness, day to day have been affected by this insecurity. Some few months ago, we talked about a lawmaker being attacked in the East, whereby his aide was killed. And that's why you see some of them, instead of investing in the right, investing in the security, they invest more. Like when I mentioned the system being overwhelmed. When we look at a politician today, the list of policemen he or she has access to be maybe 1, 2. Some we see them with 5. Some even running shifts. So the policemen that should even be securing the lives and properties of the citizens are being attached to a political office, so that you see like 5, 10. Okay, the husband has 1, the wife will have, the children will have. We are thereby leaving the citizens to the hands of all these elements. So if you look at it, I will tell you, it seems our security is not on. It doesn't top the list for them, because if it does, they have all the requirements in terms of resources to actually fund the system to build a formidable security network for this country. And you see them investing in bulletproof vehicles. The more you rather invest in bulletproof vehicles if they have to ply the road, and if not, they travel by air. So we have what it takes. We have the resources, but where these resources are being channeled, it's quite different.
When you say we have the resources, you have read this statement twice. We have the resources. Just prior, you said we lack manpower. You know, it's more like 1 to 600,000 persons, 1 policeman, 600,000 individuals, and you made mention of our inability to have technology. So when you say resources, we have the resources, but lack the channeling. How do you mean we have the resources?
Sorry, I'm making reference to financial resources now.
Okay.
We have the money, we have the financial backup, we have the financial strength as a country, this financial stability to actually get our security fixed. We have that financial strength. I was making reference to the financial strength, not, okay, maybe the human resources and the likes.
I want you to holistically talk about the relationship between corruption and insecurity cases we are facing in Nigeria at this moment.
Thank you. If we look at corruption, it's part of the factors responsible for insecurity. Because just yesterday, we saw the drama that happened at the Senate. And we knew what actually led to the suspension of Senator Ningi, where he raised, budget padding of over 30 trillion naira. And it was raised at the floor of the House, and other senators were trying to debunk that information. And we had a case of 500 million given to ranking senators. Okay, 500 million for what? For what? So corruption, if you are to deal with corruption, it starts even from our local ministries. It starts from our local ministries, permanent secretaries. You know, some of these politicians, they can't do certain things. They just don't have access to funds without some of these civil servants. So it's a collaboration, it's a joint effort. It's not as if, they just go there to just pick the money. So the money we are meant to use to build our system, some individuals to just feel, this money can be mine. And then they collaborated with the needed forces within the ministry, and you see them cutting away with millions. And that's why we keep having different EFCC cases on daily basis. Once this person resigns, the next thing is for EFCC to pick him or her up. Once this person is out of office, you hear cases of billions of naira. So that's to tell you we have this money, but some individuals, just few, this money should be theirs and should be for their generations unborn, which unfortunately they may not even be able to spend. So corruption has been a major factor. The money we talk about, okay, the other time we talk about budgetary, mentioned briefly budgetary allocation and all that. It will interest you to know that once this money is released to all these ministries, begin to trace it down, track it down at the end of the year. You see a lot of frivolities. You see a lot of inflation, the way they inflate prices of things they need to acquire. Trips, you see a trip that should cost maybe 100,000 naira, they will tell you it costs 200,000 naira. We heard of one minister in this administration that booked flights to travel with our team members to a state where does not have airports. So those are the ones that we can see. What of the ones we cannot see? So corruption is spread, as littered all over, everywhere within our system, and we need to purge this system. And if we need to purge this system, it doesn't just, we shouldn't just look so high. We shouldn't just look at, okay, our political office holders alone. Let's start from the ministries. Let's start from those civil servants who works in all these ministries. They are part of this system. They contributed to it. They gave us they give this they connive with these politicians, with these political office holders to get access to these funds. If you look at some civil servants where they own houses and buildings, you know, in government residential areas, you know, in good places, and you will be surprised that can a civil servant have this kind of thing? Can a civil servant erect this kind of building? So it's not just about our political office holders. It's about the system generally. The need to saturate, the need to purge the system.
Okay.
Now, away from corruption, how do you think this actually tends to affect our education in Nigeria? Already we have about 10 million out-of-school children, and when situations where we have kidnappings and banditry attack, you know, are focusing on education and schools, you know, what kind of message do you think this act tend to send to parents, you know, send to even school children themselves? Don't you think probably this will probably give another void, you know, make another space for just enough void when it comes to a gap in our education system?
Thank you. We already have a good number of out of school children, which we are still trying to fix up. And yes, you are being faced with another mess. As a parent, I wouldn't hear that there was a kidnap, okay, in the neighborhood, and the following morning you will expect me to wake up and dress up my child to go to school. No. I want to study the situation for days. And if I have to even allow the child go to school, you know, my mind won't be at peace. And sometimes, and when you even look at it, is it everybody that even have passion for education? To some children, it's the parents that are still forcing them. Oh, you need to study, you need to go to school, you need to be educated. So all these things are discouragements. Imagine the schools where we've had kidnap cases. We had one in Ekiti this year. Now we have another in Kaduna. Look at the remaining school children there that were not kidnapped. The fear, that panic will be there. The panic mode in them is activated already. And they will need to go through a kind of therapy session for them to get back to their normal self. So it will contribute to the number of out-of-school children we have if care is not taken. Some parents will even maybe resort to, home teaching. Let my child receive education at home till a certain age before, I release the child before this and before that. And if you look at the education system already, it's even faulty. Not to now talk of adding insecurity to the whole thing. And it's not everybody that has money to travel out of the country to seek for education abroad. So some would rather tell you, instead of leaving my child into the hands of all these vampires, I would rather be happy to have my child with me, and I know that I wake up daily to see this child, I'm happy, than leave the child and you don't know what becomes of that child the next moment. So it's a difficult situation for both the parents and even the students, the pupils studying. it gives a kind of low motivation, very, very low motivation. You can't expect a full concentration from a child who has a divided attention in class already, not thinking, oh, any sound they hear now, they don't know if it's even somebody that is playing within the neighborhood or it's the sound of a gunshot. They are perplexed. They are scared already. So right. It's not good for educational system.
Now, we understand the emotional challenges that this might really send down to students, to children, especially you said that we do have a very high number of out-of-school children already, and this is also causing a lot of commotion. Now, I remember some times back, the present administration declared a state of emergency on food insecurity, which as of that time, food insecurity was on 24.82%. But now, when we say food insecurity and we are talking about state of emergency on some issues, we expect that the moment it has been declared, we are going to be seeing positive changes. All right. Now, as of December of the previous year, 2023, food insecurity that was on 24.82% rose to 33.93%. Now, showing that the state of emergency that was declared on food insecurity wasn't coming to positive fruition. Now, we are looking at insecurity in general. Most people are saying the government should call on state of emergency because they feel like it's a national issue. Holistically, do you think a state of emergency can fix anything here? And if it should be declared, what are the angles that needs to be fixed and things that we need to look into that can fix Nigeria's security for real at once?
It goes beyond declaring a state of emergency. Security business, it's not just about identifying the crime, but the motive behind the crime. It's not just about declaring state of emergency on food insecurity, but what are the factors responsible? What are the factors responsible? First, we talk about, we've seen cases of Fulani, herdsmen, and farmers clash, which has most farmers packing from their farmland. They've left their farmland because of the fear of being attacked by other people. We've seen farmers being killed on their farmland, being tied to trees, being brutalized by all these Fulani herdsmen. What is the government doing to ensure that farmers can go about their activity without fear of being attacked? Probably there should be security. The security of these farmers should be guaranteed. So if there is not, we look at it, most people would rather prefer now as it is to farm on a small scale within their compound, just for the family to eat. I mean, farmers, rather than for them, okay, going to their farmlands in neighboring towns and villages, to cultivate because of the risks involved. I've seen people close to me that they've started their farmland for years now because of the fear, because of the panic. And if they need to go to the farm, they have to go in good numbers. And they are not just going in good numbers, okay. I know of several times they've reported the situation even to our local security network, they are Motekun. But they are trying, but they've not really been able to address some of these challenges. But a lot of states that do not even have access to all these local security networks. So let's look at that. So it goes beyond just state of emergency, but what is the government doing in addressing these challenges that led us to this situation? Then, what is the motivation we are giving the farmers? What is the motivation we are giving them? Do they have access to grants? Do they have access to all these supplements? Do they have access to training and empowerment? So these are issues if we want to get out of food insecurity in the country. So it's not just about coming out to announce, but there must be concerted effort to ensure that we are back on track.
Now, Governor Sani Uba of Kaduna State made a very proud statement, which I found rather funny to some extent. He said under his leadership, he intends, going far and wide, ensuring that those school children were brought back to their parents safe and sound. This is a statement made by a governor who has no power, over the police in his state, no power over the soldiers in his state, and the helpful vigilante around, even while they tried to actually run after these kidnappers, one of them actually lost his life in the process, which means the sort of ammunition these guys carried was obviously not a stick and sword, obviously. So I tend to wonder, what do you think governors could do, or governor in his situation could do, knowing fully well he has no power per se over the military personnel in his environment, in his state?
Thank you. That statement, I'd rather say the political, don't let me say 100% the political statement. He just needs to say something that will bring succor to the parents. But if you look at the state of state pupils that were kidnapped a few weeks ago, when they were released, we had two versions of the story. And that's where I want to pick things from. The state government appreciated the president for coming to their rescue and to their aid, as if the president supplied the needed security to go after the band, which aided the release of the people. So we have that situation to even to look at in addressing this recent one. So the parents narrated, they contributed money, even got support from fellow market women, villagers, and all to secure. They even took the money to the location of this bandit, and where the bandits even requested for food, fried rice and some other items. So look at it. The government made a statement quite contradictory to what happened in the recess of it. So it's stated by the political. I might just feel, oh, let me just say something that will give relief to the parents and even to the citizens. Yes, as a governor, I know he wouldn't be happy with the situation at hand, in all sincerity. But some things, like he said, that he doesn't have access to the military, not as if he's the one in charge. So he might go behind closed doors to meet with the president in order to get national help. That's if that will come. But I know many cases that have happened in the past, some of these people, they paid ransom, not a thief. Because if they were actually released based on the effort of our security operatives, then we should be having reduced cases by the day. Then we should have a database of all these bandits. We should be able to look at it. Okay, these are the things we did to secure the release of students in so state. Then these are the things we can even employ in this other state. So as a governor, I feel that statement might be a bit of a more political statement. Though I know the parents too will be. The parents too at this time would have an next effort to actually look into the situation of things. They wouldn't allow their children being left in the hands of all these unscrupulous elements for them. Are we still together? Please?
Yeah, we're together. And this actually made me want to ask the question, what kind of governance do we have in Nigeria? Is there optimism for any form of improvement? A government where once there is a kidnap or bandit, people tend to negotiate. Now, so far, no one has resigned, no one has retired, no one is taking responsibility, not the governor, not the commissioner of police. Everybody is still seated in their various positions, both politically and public. Now, I really tend to wonder, is there really optimism in improvement in this situation?
You can just be hopeful of better days ahead. You can just be hopeful. And another thing is, the state governors at some point, okay, not even the state governor, the lawmakers, they've at some point made effort to adjust the constitution to accommodate state policing. But we note that some people from some parts of the country, they were against it. I think twice or so, this has been raised. And some people from the other part of from some part of this country, they were against it. So those are the things that can give us hope that, insecurity will be curbed in the nearest future, in coming days. But if you look at it, nobody is taking responsibility like yourself. If a governor knows he is failing in his responsibilities, the best is to feel he's incapacitated to handle the situation and maybe resign or something. But you will never see it. And this is because we put selfish interest above collective interest of a nation. And until we are able to build a system, an institution that is above an individual. We need to build a system that is above an individual, not an individual controlling individual. But if we have an institution, a working institution, we will see that some of these leaders too, their activities will be checked when due, and you don't even need to tell them to resign because some of them will even want to take a vow. But in a situation whereby an individual is even bigger than the whole institution, you know that they are the mercy of such an individual. So in coming days, we can just be hopeful that things will get better and that maybe there will be legislation, maybe at some point too, the lawmakers too can come together unanimously to be able to promote this state policing, which I think will help us a long way in curbing insecurity in the country.
Now, looking at what you just spoke about the state policing thing, it was believed by so many Nigerians that the removal of fuel subsidy was going to result in higher amounts being allocated to states, which has really been a thing that has been happening. Now, there have been higher amounts allocated to states monthly basis, but we are not seeing these things reflecting on the security aspect of each state, especially at this point. Started with Abuja, the Northern Axis, massacres and everything, kidnap. A lot of atrocity in the security aspect is really happening. What can be done as at this moment, especially when we have this situation? Now, you spoke about state policing. Some people went against it, while some people supported it. But we've seen some governors that stood steadfast and still say the situation needs to be curbed and I need to stand for my people. Why are we not seeing other governors following suit? Is it that they want something else from it, or they don't have the power to do the same?
Like you said, when the first subsidy was reduced, we were in high hopes that the allocation coming to states will be increased. Yes, we've had different stories. There was a time, the Senate president said certain amount of money was given to state governors, and state governors came out to debunk that they were not given the money. We don't know where that communication gap actually came from, but we know that the allocation coming to states over time, since the first subsidy has been removed, has been increased. And now it behoves on citizens of each state to ask questions. Why do we have state lawmakers in the houses, our state houses of assembly? They should ask questions. They should carry out their oversight function. This money was increased, the allocation was increased, so that the governors too can take care of their citizens, that can take care of different sectors at the state level. What we see now, we've not seen anything different from the time we were receiving the whole allocation to now that the allocation has been increased. The only thing we saw recently in those states was maybe 35,000 naira given, the bonuses given maybe once or twice. Is that a solution to the problem? 35,000 naira given to how many workers out of that huge amount of money? We need to look at long-term solutions to our problem. We shouldn't we can just give people peanuts just to keep them short for a particular period of time. And at this time, lawmakers should be on their feet. They should start with their responsibility. One of their three major functions is oversight. They should carry out oversight function. Ask the governors, state governors questions. And if the governors, shift the blames to, maybe ministries, then they should carry out oversight functions on the ministry. Let us know where this money is being kept. Let us know where this money is being diverted. Let us know what the governors are doing. What are the needs? What are the major needs of the citizens they are catering for with this money? They also, like on those states here, what can we really say? What can we really point to that has made the difference between when the other allocation was released and now? And especially now that oh, political activities are taking over, political activities are taking over our atmosphere. It thinks every attention has been diverted there, and it thinks we won't have anything even being done till after election. But does that mean allocation is being stopped till after election? No, the allocations are still coming in. So we should ask questions. Individual and private bodies should stand up. Ask questions. Let us petition the system. Let us petition the government. Let us petition those in charge. Let us know where this money is being kept. And we shouldn't just keep our lips sealed and be expecting a miracle to happen. We need to be able to interrogate our leader. We need to be able to ask one question. We need to be able to know what exactly is happening. There should be transparency.
Thank you very much.
We don't have to do their own. We, the citizens, we should do our own.
All right, thank you very much. We're really out of time. In as much as we urge for transparency, for accountability in the area of funds and every other thing, Nigerians, they really want to clinch to hope as a Nigerian citizen and as a person that you feel that there are a lot of things that needs to be done. In just 30 seconds, what is your word of advice in terms of hope to Nigerian citizens?
The future belongs to us. We are a part of the system, either we like it or not. Everybody is a political animal. So we are part of the system. We are part of this politics. Let us get involved. We have access to social media. Let us raise issues on social media. Let us call out our representatives on the social media. Let us be involved. Don't let us just look away. Don't let us just feel, oh, there is no hope. We still have that hope. I believe things can still get better if we make use of of things within our means. If we make use of all the technology, if we make use of our social media, if we make use of the available means for us, let us call them out, let us ask them questions. And so we should get involved, if not for ourselves, but for the generation to come.
All right, thank you very much for coming on the program. We really do appreciate. All right, viewers, I believe so much that you've heard it all. A lot of things needs to be done. Insecurity is a big issue in our country that needs to be fixed as soon as possible. But as it is at this moment, we need to really fix things on our end too. As our guest has said, let's call out people, let's hold them accountable because they are there to serve us, and we believe that Nigeria is going to be a great nation. Insecurity is one of the challenges which I believe we are going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. From us here, we'll be saying goodbye on Daybreak Africa. I remain Michael Obagiri.
Do have a wonderful day ahead. I remain Ezekiel. Okay.